Dumpster diving is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Going through a dumpster, diving for information that may have been thrown in there and could be useful to the social engineer performing reconnaissance. Let's delve a little bit deeper into dumpster diving. There are a few different classes of information that the dumpster diver may be seeking. The obvious one is paper records. And have a think about how much information gets printed on paper that could be quite sensitive. Confidential information could be contracts, information that could be used for impersonation. So think about things like employee records or even utility bills. Later in the course, we'll talk about how things like electricity or gas bills can be very useful for identity theft. But there's also digital records, so how much electronic information gets thrown into the dumpster. Trawling through the dumpster behind a corporate environment can find everything from entire laptops through to just individual hard disks or thumb drives, any of which could hold treasure troves of really useful corporate information. As much as savvy organizations like to push for the correct destruction of records such as these, the convenience of simply throwing things in the trash can means that very often, quite sensitive information, useful information to the social engineer involved in a reconnaissance phase, would find very useful and manages to find literally in the dumpster. But it's not just the outgoing information from an organization that can be useful, it's also the incoming information. Mail theft. This can be enormously valuable to the social engineer because just think about how much really useful information comes through the mail. All the things I just mentioned before that often end up in the dumpster, things like utility bills, but also things like bank statements, physical credit cards, other forms of identity, which could then be used for identity theft or all sorts of other sensitive information. We all receive mail, we all know how much useful info can be in there. So the mail is an excellent source of reconnaissance. Now there's just one more source of reconnaissance that I'd like to talk about before we wrap up the module, and that's data breaches.